Hi everyone, welcome to the stream. I am Kel McDonald. I make comics you can read at kelmcdonald.com.
And I'm Alina Pete, and I make comics you can read at alinapete.com or at weirgeek.com.
Alina, I can hear your birds in the background.
Yes, they are being a little bit squeaky because
Birding
it's
up.
springtime. It's springtime, and they are very excited about their butts.
Good.
Yeah.
When your birds lay eggs,
Yes.
um, do you eat them or is that weird?
No, I did once. I tried one of Meg's eggs just to see how it was, and they are not like chicken eggs. So when you cook it, because I
Okay.
wasn't gonna eat a damn raw egg, the whites don't cook. Like they don't cook like a chicken egg. They just kind of stay runny and like translucent. And it's very weird.
And that's you're not a fan of runny eggs.
Yeah. So I was like, I took a little bite just for science, and then I was like, yeah, no, not my favorite
Not
flavor.
no.
And I haven't tried
Okay.
cooking a linny egg yet, because they're too small.
They're itty bitty.
They're just little guys. But yeah, I did try one cockatiel egg for science, and I don't recommend it. They're not great.
Okay.
But they're not fertile either. So, like, because there's no males around to fertilize them, so they're just dummy eggs. And I've made a whole bunch of fake eggs for Meg when she does lay, because she will keep laying to replace the eggs. If I take them away, she'll just lay eggs forever until she dies. But if you sneak an
Oh.
egg in every other day, she'll think that she laid it because she can't count, and then she'll just at some point go like, "Oh, I have like 6 eggs. I should stop laying," even though she only laid like 3 of them.
I've been doing Duolingo,
Nice.
to learn Japanese.
Good. Good. Good.
And I know now that the word for bird is tori.
Tori,
Yeah.
like yakitori, is a fried chicken.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I found a really cute
Uh,
game for learning hiragana and katakana.
um, I also saw that Duolingo has Irish.
Oh, really?
So I did a couple of lessons of that. And I said this on Geek Show. Um, but so you know how English is a bunch of languages standing on
Yep.
top of each other in a trench coat pretending to be one
Yep.
language? Um, doing Irish lessons, the word is that's where England stole it from.
So is just is.
Yeah.
Great. That makes it easier.
Uh, I also learned that my little sister's name, Colleen, is like a bastardized version of the Irish word for girl,
Good. They
because
just
the
called her
Irish word
girl.
for girl is Colleen,
Right.
and um, that's all I got so far.
Good.
But it was just um, okay then. Uh,
I've drawn a very ridiculous portrait of us today.
good. I support ridiculous
It's
portraits.
extra ridiculous. Looks like you have a cigarette, but it's actually a pencil. You're just holding a pencil in your mouth.
Story of my life.
Yep.
Um, I am someone who likes to have stuff in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I can never start smoking because I would instantly become a chain smoker.
Forever.
Like, and then when e-cigarettes came out, I was
Oh
like,
no.
well, I was like, it's a good thing that they don't make like a caffeine
Mm-hmm.
one of these because that would very quickly turn into Kel dies of caffeine overdose.
You're like, this is very fun to have. I'll just
Yeah.
continue doing so. I have very much caffeine. I did one of those 23andMe tests, and I am a caffeine super metabolizer. Basically means it hits my system like fast.
Cool,
Which
cool.
is also why it's the anxiety juice. So, like, if I want to have a little mini anxiety attack, I can just have a cup of coffee. That's always fun.
I had a roommate in college who was like that, and um, I think was under the impression that all tea was caffeine free for some reason.
Oh, no, it's definitely not.
So she drank some. She's like, "Can I have some of your tea?" And I was like, "Sure." And then like it's later. Oh, did your like internet go out? No, because you're still talking to me.
Yeah, I'm still
So
talking to you. Oh, no, we're back. That was weird.
okay.
That just cut out for absolutely no reason. Okay, well, we're back. Hey, everybody. I was telling a story about trying Yopen tea. I
Yes.
finally
How
found a
was it?
place. It was very good. It's basically got the same flavor profile as an oolong, but without the sort of florally notes that an oolong has. Like, it's just a very clean, simple tea. I really quite enjoyed it. And it was, it's like very not fussy. Like, the instructions were basically like, yeah, you can't really overbrew this. Like, just throw it in some hot water. Just go nuts. I was like, great, cool.
I constantly overbrew my tea.
Yeah.
If someone was really particular about my tea, I'm probably committing war crimes. Because it's the thing where you brew the cup
Yep, and forget about it.
and then you go do something else and then you
Yep.
forget about it. Um, and then your tea is overdone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this would be a good tea for that because it doesn't really overbrew. It just kind of mellows real nice. I was slightly worried that it would do the thing that yerba mate does because it's a distant relative of yerba mate plant, um, which is to keep me up all night, even if I've drunk it very early in the day. I don't know why yerba mate lasts so long in my system, but I can't have it anymore. It's incompatible with Alina's. Which is too bad. Because its flavor
Yeah,
is very nice.
bummer.
But Yopen tea, nope, doesn't do that. So very happy about that. And somebody who's doing comics for Indigenerds hooked me up with a indigenous sourced Yopen company. This one wasn't. This was one that just sort of like they're trying to restore wildlife and wetlands areas where the Yopen grows. So I was like, okay, I'll order from them because it's not indigenous sourced, but it is a good cause.
Yeah.
But now that I actually have the indigenous company hook up, I'm like, hell yeah, ordering from them next. I'm definitely getting
Yeah.
more of this. It's really tasty. It's a good tea.
Trying to think of shit that I watched this week. I watched a bit of The Great North.
Oh yeah.
Which is by Bob's Burgers crew. And is about a family that lives in Alaska.
Right.
And what's very funny is the second episode is the town is having the not eating people feast, the feast of not eating people.
Good.
And the story behind this is the white settlers that founded the town were very stupid. And when they first came here, they were starving
Mm-hmm.
and ate each other.
Yep. And the locals were like, "What the
And
fuck is going on with those white people? Why are they
no,
eating each
it
other?"
just they just eventually realized that like actually the woods are full of edible shit.
Right.
And you're dum-dums. Um and
Yep.
and those are the exact words. They're like they're dum-dums.
Yeah.
They're dumb people. And
We don't know
we
why they're eating each
celebrate that
other.
they
It's weird.
realize they don't have to eat each other.
Good. I was
Uh,
reading a report about the Dahmer party, and
yeah.
apparently, like, the local native folks were like, "Yo, are you okay over here? Like, you seem to be having problems." And then by that point, most of the men folk were dead, and all the women were like trying to figure out if they were gonna eat their bodies or not. And they were like, "Ah, natives, get away from here. We'll shoot you." But like the native people were just coming in to be like, "Do you need help? We can like drop some food off and leave because you seem to be dying."
Um,
And there's stories about them where they're like, "Yo, so there was these white people over there, and they were fucking eating each other, and it was messed up. Don't go over there."
yeah. Mel Gilman read a book on the Donner Party and was telling me about it. And
Good.
they basically made all the mistakes.
Oh God, yes, 100% from top to bottom.
One that I thought was interesting is that this is a thing that I don't blame them about for. Like, they
Mm-hmm.
made a lot of dumb decisions, but this is one that like they maybe couldn't have predicted as
Yeah.
people who had only been on the East Coast was so apparently the further west you go in the US,
Mm-hmm.
the later um the coldest month of the year is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when they were planning their trip, they thought they would arrive there when it was starting to warm up,
Yeah.
but actually
It
they
was the
were
coldest month.
getting there right as it was getting even colder.
Yeah. They were also just straight
Um,
up and up swindled by the dude who was like, "Yeah, I can totally lead you there.
yeah,
I'll get you through the
yeah,
mountains, no problem."
yeah,
Yeah, bad,
yeah.
bad, bad deal.
But yeah, the um Great North is pretty funny
Cool.
if you enjoy Bob's Burgers.
Yeah,
It's like that same sense of
yeah.
humor. Um,
I've heard that Bob's Burgers is basically what the animation industry is looking for right now. Like they kind of went through their phase of greenlighting cool supernatural stuff, like Post Gravity Falls. They were like, "What if we did Owl House? What if Amphibia? What if we did some cool shit like that?"
what
And now they're
well,
like getting away from that.
I have some insider knowledge that I can share with you when we're not
Ooh,
streaming.
sounds good.
Um, which yes and no.
Interesting.
It's not like yes, Bob's Burgers is what they are more looking for, but it is not for the reasons that
That
you
have stated.
um
Fascinating.
yes. So that is an off-air conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
So just, hang out a little bit after we go off air.
So sweet.
Um,
I have a few indifference things to
um,
talk about anyway.
yeah, 'cause Joe's partner Kristen works on the Great North,
Oh, cool.
and was telling me some stuff about the state of
Stuff.
the industry.
Yeah, it's in a state right now.
And even though like I thought there were problems with Vox Machina,
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's doing well for Amazon
I
because
hope
I would
so.
like adult animations that are pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And not just Big Mouth again and again and again.
um,
I hate that art style
because
so much.
Bob's Burgers is also not the prettiest. I feel like the
Yeah.
movement of Bob's Burgers is really pretty, but like the character designs don't really blow
I
me
think
away.
of
Um,
the adult ugly animation, it has the prettiest designs, which isn't saying a lot.
and I feel like they move really fluidly.
They
Like
really do.
they're
Yeah.
yeah.
Their lip sync is also
So
pretty nice.
yeah. Um,
But like this is really damning with faint praise.
I mean, Bob's Burgers is a good show.
It
Like
is.
period.
It doesn't need to be well animated, just still be really well written.
Yeah. Um, and um, yeah. So it will be interesting. Well, because they did the Great White North, and then they did or the Great North, and then there's another one that they made for Apple TV, I think called Central Park, but I don't think that one did very well.
Mm.
Um, but it might just be because no one has Apple TV.
Yeah.
Or they get it for the 2 months that Ted Lasso's airing, and then they turn it off.
Yes.
But anyway,
Ted
yeah,
Lasso and
I hope that
Good Omens. That's why you get it.
no, that's Amazon Prime.
Oh, that's Amazon Prime, right? Apple TV. Who uses that?
Wolfwalkers is on there, and if you haven't seen
Oh no, I
Wolfwalkers, you
have. It's
should.
very good.
But
Everyone
that's
should see
again,
it.
that's one movie, so
Mm-hmm.
someone could watch it the months that Ted Lasso is airing, and then turn it off.
Yes.
And then Mythic Quest is on there, and that's very good. Though the last season of Mythic Quest was a little iffy.
Mm.
There's and then they kind of defended NFTs.
Ooh.
Like the character that was doing the defending is the soulless marketing, like money making guy.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
I
Like
guess
in
if
character.
anyone's gonna defend it, yeah, like if anyone was gonna defend it, it's gonna be him. And
Yeah.
but the thing is that he compares it to loot boxes, and he's just like, gamers always complain about shit, and then we make it the norm and make tons of money off of
And
it.
then they
So
and then they eat it up.
who cares if they complain?
Right.
Like, and but then there was like a little bit of a, well, you know, if they're good NFTs, maybe they'd sell better, and it's like that there's no such thing. And what was very funny in the newest season of Mythic Quest is the black lady who runs HR got promoted and was being put in charge of a diversity program, like to hire more people and diversify the workforce. And so she is giving a speech to her higher ups about how she's done a great job diversifying the office, and now there aren't any old white guys here, except for this poor, long-suffering artist guy. And turns out there was one form of discrimination that she forgot about and hadn't accounted for.
Oops.
Which was age discrimination.
Mm.
So her big speech of, oh, we don't have any old white guys anymore. Like, we got rid of them all.
Right.
He's like, there, I got it on tape. I'm now
Age
suing you for discrimination based on age. And she's like, what? And he's like, I am over 45, and and then he is basically the only person in the office that is over 45, so he has a pretty good legal case. um so she has to scramble um to find some old white guys to hire. um uh and the other thing was that she couldn't fire anyone because she did such a good job diversifying the workforce that like everyone was a protected class. um so that was pretty funny. uh
Drawn some more wolves this week. This time it's a fancy stylized wolf.
Good. Is it a sparkle wolf?
No, just stylized. It's kind of like tribal style.
Okay.
Plains
That's good
art.
too.
Yeah. Of the wolf ancestor.
I watched a great video about the history of DeviantArt.
Ooh.
Speaking of sparkle
very
wolves,
good. All those sparkle dogs, forever.
So yeah, it was apparently it goes into like it got its start as just a website where you could post skins for Winamp that you made.
Oh my god, I love a Winamp skim.
And then and it was kind of like he didn't even realize like what he was building at the time, because it was just like, here's where I'll put my Winamp skins.
You know what really whips the llama's ass?
And then like
That's
but it was like it was just like
under like 35.
And it was basically the appeal was kind of how easy it was to use. And the guy who made it was like 19 when he did. And he got a job at a tech company because when he was 19, because the dot-com boom.
Of course, yeah.
And it almost fell apart. Because like the company that he was working at like started to go under because, you know, the bubble burst.
Yeah. That inevitable bubble burst.
And yeah, so it just goes over like how its ease of use and the community features that it made helped it really shine. Like there were other similar like competitors like ArtStation.
Yeah, I remember that.
But like
But
ArtStation, the reason why it was different is because like ArtStation was like really professional people.
Yes.
So
no,
the
it
fact
was
that
the like
DeviantArt,
put your portfolios here.
Yeah,
Kind of
and was also like game dev, concept art, like
yeah.
and so DeviantArt's allowing everything, and also being really easy to use and
That was
being
where
invited.
all the now Tumblr gremlins can post all their unhinged fan art. Like that is what DeviantArt is for.
But not just your unhinged fan art, your unhinged poetry, all your angsty teen needs can be served by DeviantArt.
Hell yes, as well as a variety of deviant needs, as the name fits.
And
I still wander across some weird shit on there, but not as weird as some of the other sites. Do you remember Elfwood?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think I ever used it, but I am aware of its existence.
I never used it either, but I would stalk it to learn how to draw. So there was a bunch of people who had art up there that I would like, and then I would like not trace their stuff, but like print out pages of it to like try and see
To
how they were
study.
doing their technique. Yeah, that was basically how I taught myself to draw. That and those Disney like how to draw books. I think I drew that Lion King one so much that the pages fell apart.
Good. Good.
There, I think I'm happy with that wolf. Need some moon. Gotta have 3 wolf and a moon. It's the law. When was AO3 founded? Because I feel like AO3 has been around forever.
AO3 is actually, I mean, it's forever because everything older than 10 years
Is
is
forever on the internet. Yeah.
is forever on the internet. But
Yeah.
it is fairly recent. Like, I think it's less than 10 years old.
Really?
Because it got made because fanfic.net wouldn't allow porn.
Right. I know fanfic.net kind of doesn't exist. It's still
Yes,
there, but
because
it's
as it turns
nobody
out,
uses
if
it.
you can post porn and not porn on a site,
Mm-hmm.
then people will just use that one rather
Right.
than have 2 accounts.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um,
Evie says that AO3 started in 2008, so it's actually been around as long as my comic.
oh,
But
that's
it
still
was open beta up
old.
until 2009.
Okay, and that's still a lot younger than like
Yeah.
fanfic.net or.
Yeah.
I like that the AO3 logo looks like someone lying down with their leg up.
Yes. Also, the AO3 website has the same exact color scheme as my partner's like work email. So every once in a while, I'll come out into the kitchen where he's got his work set up, and I think he's reading AO3, but it's just his work emails. I'm like, are you reading fanfic? Oh no, it's just work. Okay. And if you are reading fanfic, what are you reading? Send me your tags. I want to know.
Spike's husband works at a bank,
Mm.
and one time went to a big corporate meeting where they kept talking about OTP, which stood for something
Something
bank related.
banky. Yeah.
But there was an employee who was new who kept snickering whenever they said it.
Oh, he's in the know.
So he was like, so she's one of us.
Good. Excellent.
Like,
Good. There was some industry where they were trying to make non-con a thing as like, and people who are familiar with fanfic were like, whoa, no, no, I'm not going to explain why you can't use that as a term for that, but just don't.
did you read, there was a post that went viral that was, someone talked about how BDSM language to help them talk to their boss.
Really? I did
Um,
not.
because their boss would get like, would interpret you asking follow-up questions as talking back
Oh.
or some dumb shit like
Was
that.
it, I am
like,
just looking for clarification.
yeah. And so in emails, this person started to talk to their boss the way they talked to their dom,
Good.
which was clarification,
Yes.
and then would type their sentence.
Smart. Yep.
Or
Great tools.
yeah, so just stuff like that, and then everyone in the office started using it.
Good.
So she's like, the post was like, I accidentally got my whole office to use BDSM language.
Amazing.
because like in email chains, people saw
The boss saying,
um
yeah,
respond well to um
I respond
that
well to
like
this sort
style
of
of
thing.
phrasing.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
and we're like, this
Starting to
works.
pick
We
it
will
up.
all now talk to him like that.
Excellent.
Um,
Good. Because clearly the boss, that is a way to communicate with them. Yeah, there's a lot of BDSM languages and practices that are viable outside of the BDSM community. It's
I
just,
forget
it's
what the
very
alien.
good.
I also recently saw a post that suggested that at work you talk like I forget what the alien species is called, but they don't have a vocal tone.
Uh,
Um, so they say question and then say their statement.
right, so that you can
Um,
understand.
so it's like compliment, blah blah blah, question, blah blah blah.
Good.
Um,
First, I thought you were talking about Vulcans, but no, that's a specific
it's a Mass
thing. I
Effect
forget.
alien.
Yeah, yeah.
I know one of the Easter eggs is you find them performing Hamlet, and they're like
Excellent.
despondent to be or not to be. Um,
Oh God. Speaking of Hamlet, reminds me of a really amazing book I just got this week. I finally picked it up from my shipping place. Have
mhm.
you seen Zach Weinersmith's Beowulf?
No, I have not.
It is such a good idea. It is Beowulf, but told from the point of view of like a little girl who's like 5, and it's because he was telling the tale to his kids. And they got
Hmm.
like actually really they were like, tell us a story, Daddy, and he's like he couldn't think of anything, so he just started telling Beowulf, but like
Hmm.
made a little girl instead, and they were like really into it and actually wanted to know what was going on. So he got this amazing artist to do the art for it, and it's like this fully illustrated epic. Like it's quite a long book, but it's so cute, and it's done
Cool.
in the like rhymeling couplet style of the epics. It's gorgeous. It's also got really really nice spot gloss cover that I was very fond of. So I haven't sat down and read it all yet. I did just like a quick skim through to look at the art, but I'm like, I'm gonna need to sit down with this for a while because this is real pretty. But he got cover quotes from Neil Gaiman and somebody else that I was like, holy shit.
Did you see that book going around with the back of the book quote from Neil Gaiman saying that he lost the book?
No?
Someone was like, their pull quote from Neil Gaiman was Neil Gaiman saying, "I appear to have misplaced the book," and was asking for a new copy so he could read it, and then
That was the pull quote.
send a new pull quote. And the author was like, "No, this is a great pull quote. I'm putting this on the book."
Excellent. Good. Hi, I've lost the book.
I seem no, it was I seem to have misplaced the book.
Good.
Good, good, good.
One of my favorite Tumblr threads or memes is just unexpected places that Neil Gaiman has shown up in Tumblr because he's a regular user and he'll just slide into random conversations sometimes. Huh. Apparently, El Guna Shive, which is still going, uh, wow, had a character a few months or a few storylines ago do that mode of speech of like, query, here's my question.
Huh. Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm. of snow. A lot of prints in snow. Another wolf foot there. People foot there.
Yeah.
This is the page of tracking. It's a little too confusing. Speaking of Tumblr, I was having a interesting conversation with Jam the other day. They were saying that they've been doing some research on different social media sites since Twitter imploded, and they're trying to figure out really good ways to like, okay, well, how do I get people to look at my art now? Because I can't just promote it on Twitter and have that do anything except summon a million bots. And they were saying that Tumblr's Boost or Blaze, Tumblr's Blaze actually has really, really, really good return for your dollar.
That's
so
good.
If you do, and they were saying they were like, okay, so I did it with just a random like cat picture, but if I'd done it with like fan art or something, I'm sure I would have got even more, because once people start picking up the tag, it actually will amplify that among people of that fandom. So I was like, okay, that's cool. That's a good thing to note. I should do a D&D post, and then, because that's a hashtag that people look for, or a gaming post generally, and then blaze it, which really sounds like I'm smoking it somehow. I'm going to blaze my post.
I feel like that's a good, intentional, good decision, Tumblr.
Yes, I think so. It's very Tumblr.
I feel like Tumblr knows their audience. Did you see that they're selling notebooks that are like offline Tumblr?
Yes. It's just offline Tumblr. I also saw their Tumblr water bottle that had like all the hashtags
Tumblr
and stuff.
Tumblr.
The Tumblr.
Yeah.
That's very Tumblr. To sell a Tumblr.
Tumblr really likes shit posts.
There was a whole thing on Tumblr a while ago about vanilla. I didn't follow it and I don't understand it, but apparently there was a run on vanilla in like New York or something, because Tumblr.
Huh.
It's such a wonderful little gremlin site, and I'm so glad it survived.
There's just too many sites.
Yeah, there are. That's part of the problem. And people's attention is all split now because, like, at least, like in the way that people used to come to Twitter, and even then it was a pretty small member of the social media family. But
so, I've been talking to Kevin about this, which is, yes, everyone is on Twitter, but he said. Like looking into how viable different social medias are for advertising, he is like, maybe Twitter is not worth it. Like even before the implosion, it's not worth it.
Yes.
Because yes, everyone was. Yeah, cool. Because everyone was like, "Oh, but everyone's on Twitter."
Yeah, and it felt like a place that you could promote your work and have it be seen, but it kind of wasn't.
Well, this is the thing. He compared it to like saying, "But Twitter's where everyone is." He's like, "Well, first of all, that's not true. Facebook's where everyone is statistically."
Yes.
And he goes, "But that's like saying, oh, I'm gonna promote and hand out flyers for my comic at the grocery store because that's where everyone is." Like,
right, yeah.
Because yes, a lot of people are at the grocery store,
but they're not the people who are gonna suddenly start reading comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really great analogy.
And So I also recently I got a Facebook ad.
How'd that work
Um
out? I know you've been trying different promo stuff.
well, I was mostly like paying a social media assistant to help with
Yeah.
stuff in general posts.
Yeah, yeah.
Um and Instagram and Facebook has been there has been the least movement.
Hmm.
But now that I've paid for something, I did get a decent chunk. It only got shown for a day.
Right?
Um, and I think I got it said 100 people clicked the ad. And I definitely saw that in my site analytics because I just did a like free to read online ad, so I don't know if these people are people that are going to stick around.
Yeah, yeah.
But I figured free to read online, that's hook 'em first hits free.
Yep. That's the old webcomics model.
Uh,
As opposed to the new webcomics model, which is like, I don't know, sign up for Comixology or webtoons, and then maybe if you win the lottery, you will actually be shown on the front page, and then you will actually be able to make money at it. But otherwise, you don't make money at it, and you're not really getting ad revenue from it either. So I don't understand
yeah,
what the point is.
there isn't one.
No, it's to
Um,
make the company money, not you. That's
yeah.
the point. That's the actual point.
What? Amazon only cares about money.
I know. Shocking, right?
Did you see that distillery announcement?
No.
Oh God. It's the dumbest thing. The guys who started Comixology and then sold it to Amazon. One of them, you know, Chip.
Oh yeah, I remember Chip.
Yeah.
Chip.
He,
They're lesbians, Chip.
yeah, they're lesbians, Chip.
Who's this comic for, Alina? I was like, lesbians, Chip. It's right there in
Lesbians.
the right there in the pitch.
It's
It's
a
in the
lesbian
pitch.
rom-com.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's for lesbians.
Sorry
Anyway,
you didn't figure that one out, sir.
so they're starting a new digital comic company called Distillery,
Huh.
and it's gonna make. They're basically making NFTs, but without
Oh
the
no.
NFT part.
Oh.
But without the NFT part, they're very clear that they're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
NFTs.
But how are they not NFTs though?
Well, because it's basically what they're doing is they're gonna make digital comics,
Uh
but there's a
huh.
limited number of digital copies of their digital comic. So they're gonna sell a certain number, and then on their website there's
It's
a
done.
resale market for you to
Okay.
sell your digital comic
I
so it can
see.
become a collector's item. And it's
Oh, that
like,
sure worked out great in the '90s in comics. That's a great
yeah,
idea,
like
Chip.
this is a plan that bankrupted Marvel,
Yes.
and you think that it's a good idea now.
Oh boy.
And he tried to argue, and there was some stuff about like, oh, well, you see, like, we're replicating drop culture, and if drop culture works because people hype up the thing, and then also they, um,
Also, there's a big enough draw that you're getting just the like less than 10% of people who are interested in that type of
also
collecting.
all those things like sneakers or whatever,
Yeah.
you can wear them, show off
Yes.
that you have the expensive exclusive sneaker.
Exactly.
Like,
And I mean, a lot of people don't. They just have their like giant shelf of them so that their value stays high. But
but they're still in their house for you to show
yes,
off
yeah,
that
yeah,
you
yeah.
have it.
Whereas NFT
Uh,
version of that is like, look at my phone and I'll show you my super special collection of comics. How about no?
and it's and then like they're like, yeah, we're gonna like revolutionize comics. Here's our starting lineup, and
Hashtag comics disruptor.
it's all the same Image Big Two folks that these companies always hire. Like,
Oh man, I would love to open a distillery. I would that would be webcomics distillery and mead farm.
also,
Sounds great.
also, they spell distillery without any vowels, and that's
How?
awful. That's
Is it
awful. I
just
hate it.
okay? How would I? Is it distillery? Is it dystlery?
I can't even remember because there's no vowels. Like,
Distillery. That's like a license plate now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. Oh no.
Anyway, now you know about that, Alina. I'm sorry I've cursed you with this knowledge.
It's dysentery. That's what I'm gonna call it from now.
You've died of dysentery. And then Whitney Leopard at Random House tweeted like, "Here's our exciting new comic venture. We're not like those abusive publishers.
Oh boy.
Here's our lineup. We're we're not like those abusive publishers. Here's our lineup featuring unknown abuser in the community."
Oh no! I knew it was gonna be that. I knew that would be the punchline.
And then a bunch of people tweeted at her. Then a bunch of people, and then people DM'd her, being like, "Oh, are you talking about so and so?" Because she added an @ that was correction, abusers.
Oh no.
Because different people's names came up.
Oh no.
When she got those DMs.
Oh boy. That's a rough one.
Yeah.
Comics, why are you like this?
Because it's run by old white dudes that drink a lot.
That's why we have to change it. We're changing the industry one line at a time. Let's do it. I'm very tired.
I was talking. So speaking of your lesbian rom-com,
yeah,
Chip didn't know who it was for.
Lesbians.
I was talking in a comics. I'm a member of that comics co-op. I don't know if you saw it going around.
No, but I'm not really in the cool kids club, so like I'm really.
Well, it was just making its rounds on the internet, and anyone can join. But the idea is that it's supposed to be collective promo. One of the things, one of the requirements for being a member is you have to do something to help someone in the group, which is where the co-op part comes. So if you don't like to do social media blitzes or whatever,
you get somebody else to help.
You can make ads for a person, but you don't have to post on social media. Or you can do some editing help for someone's project. So it's not just... So it's like you're doing something for someone else, but then someone else who is better suited at promo stuff for you.
Honestly, that sounds really nice.
It's in the early stages,
a bit of a problem actually in execution, but that's a really smart idea.
I'm cautiously hopeful. I am just a little unsure on how the execution of some stuff is going to go.
Yeah, that's what I would also be worried about.
Because the people who are going to want to join are going to be the people who don't like to do their own advertising.
Who need the help, exactly. And,
yeah. But anyway, so they were talking about distillery, and I brought up that
I must know how this is spelled.
well, I brought up that okay, if someone really wanted to revolutionize comics, we have enough publishers that are like
Oh,
Image Light.
no, it's worse than I
Um,
thought. I'm not gonna
um,
write it for my stream, y'all. Y'all, I didn't spell it dumb enough. I'm sorry.
um, so basically there are all these publishers
Or did I? Was
that
this
the
the
best
last
way to
one?
describe them are Image Light. Like, for all of Comixology's talk about how they were open to printing anything, really they just wanted to print books that were like Image's books. And I
Right.
think that's why these publishers don't do well, because we already have an Image. In fact, we have several Images already. So we don't need yet another Image wannabe. Like, they
Yeah,
don't have
yeah.
their own voice. Um, so the um uh
Sorry, I'm just getting really dumb
basically
now.
um but so I was saying, if you really wanted to revolutionize comics, you would start making realistic fiction for adult women.
Oh, oh, hell yes. Oh my god, yes,
Like,
there's such a hunger for
because
that.
because here's the thing, there's a hunger for it, but also people who might not even know that they want it. Like,
Yes.
so the example I gave is my cousin's daughters
Yeah.
loved Raina's books when they came out, like
Mm-hmm.
Smile when it first came out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're older now.
They're in college now,
Yep. They would still read
and
comics.
there are no comics for them.
Nope.
Because this is the thing, is us, we're nerds,
Yep.
so our complaint is always, oh, but I want good fantasy and sci-fi comics.
Yeah.
They won't read those
No.
because they're not real.
No. But
So
like.
like, as great as Olympus lore is doing,
Mm-hmm.
they won't
Mm-hmm.
read Olympus lore because it's not real.
Yeah. But
I
they
could get
would if they
them
were
to read.
it had none of the Greek myth stuff on it. If they were just office people having a torrid office romance, they would read the hell out of that.
And so the thing is like, I could get them to read Heartstoppers, but now they're too old for it. Same with Laura
Yeah.
Dean keeps breaking up with me.
Yeah.
Um, the closest I can think of is Lucy Knisley's autobio comics,
Oh
but like,
yeah. But
they
it's
want
autobio, which isn't.
fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want fiction. Um, so like, there is no Princess Jellyfish of Western comics. There is
No.
no Takugan girls of Western
No.
comics.
But there should be.
Um, and so um,
Man, I am not
there,
the right person to read that or to write that, but
yeah,
I would
I
back
don't want to
somebody
make these
else's.
comics. I don't want to make these comics, but if I were trying to get a publisher off the ground,
Oh hell
like,
yes. That
that's what I
is
would
bread and
focus
butter.
on, because that there's people who loved Raina as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Still want comics,
and I
but comics
also
aren't
think,
for them anymore.
yeah, there are no comics for them. And there was a report that recently came out that was about how sales in YA have finally started to slow down, and the
Mm.
person writing the article had some theories as to why.
Mm-hmm.
One was, and they were talking about YA in general, not just comics. They were also
Right.
talking prose. One is, they said YA has gotten too old. Basically, shortly after Hunger Games came out, publishers realized that the people talking about YA and promoting YA online were adults that read YA rather than teens.
Right.
And so they, trying to cater to those adults, made them
Sort of lose out on their core demographic.
yeah, so now you have a bunch of stories that are about 17-year-olds that act like 20 somethings.
Right.
Um, and so if you are and there isn't anything for someone looking for someone who is where the main character is 16 or 15. Um, and then their other thing was um, YA is not making a good transition, doesn't have good transition books from younger books.
No. Yeah.
So and this tying it into comics, as they said, if someone really likes Dogman, there is no YA book for them.
No, you can't directly
Um,
jump into that. I actually ran into that
yeah.
with my niece this Christmas. I was trying to get her some books that would kind of transition her from the Dogman Captain Underpants books
Hmm.
into older comics, and the closest I could find was Rihanna's Babysitter's Club. And like
But that's not
thematically,
funny
that's
enough.
very different. It's very different.
Hmm.
And I'm still not sure that she likes the books I got her. I think
Hmm.
she's been reading it with her mom, but I'm not sure if that she's into them the way she was with the Dogman books.
Because they're not funny, or
Yeah,
at least not
and
funny in the same way.
and they're not
Like,
fantastical and adventurous. Like it's real
yeah,
low stakes, real life stuff.
yeah, and like that's great. Did you give the kid Amulet?
No, no, that was one I wasn't sure if it would be reading level, but I that's definitely on my to
If
give
they're
list.
reading Babysitters Clubs, they can read Amulet.
Yeah, that's true. Amulet's really good.
And it's not funny, but adventure.
No,
Like,
it's the kind of comic I would have ate up when I was like 9.
yeah. So yeah, so I'm just thinking like, what comics exist for these types of girls, and
Yeah.
what they need are comics that are the comic equivalent of Sisterhood of Traveling Pants,
Yes.
the comic equivalent to 50 Shades of Grey, the
Yeah.
comic equivalent of like um
Oh man,
I
like all of them romance novels, but like comic. Well, and
but yeah, but
honestly,
not just like, the reason why I said Sisterhood of Traveling Pants is because like that's just about girls being friends,
yeah, exactly.
like
Like your
when
Azuma
they're adults.
Daio. Um,
Yeah.
that's interesting because I was noticing on webtoons when I was doing my big read through because I was like, okay, how to write romance comic if I was particularly interested in that? How would I do
Hmm.
it? And so I was going through and I was reading a bunch of the generally Korean produced comics that are all on there, um, that are all like romance
Hmm.
related, and they're they are compelling. There's some fun stories in there. They get into some really cool stuff with secondary characters and like little B plots that you're like, oh, this is actually really interesting. And it's not just romance. Even though if you were to look at it
Hmm.
from the surface and the marketing, you're like, I don't know, this is just a pure romance story. I don't know that I'd be interested in it. Because I am a nerd. I like
Hmm.
your sci-fi and your fantasy and adventure, and I never would have noticed this if I wasn't doing my deep dive. But I was like, okay, this is really interesting. And I was looking at American equivalents, and one of the really popular ones, Let's Play. I don't know if you've checked that one out on Webtoons, but it's
I've
like,
seen pages of it. I know that
yeah,
it's about a girl makes a game and the famous hot Let's Player moves next door.
yeah, and he like
Um, he,
review bomb her game gets review bombed because he does it on his stream.
yeah, because he didn't get it.
Yeah,
And
and she's like
he
crushed.
might be he might be Markiplier. But
Maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit, maybe a lot.
maybe a little
Markiplier.
bit.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah, no, I read like, because when it got nominated for an Eisner, I read the beginning of
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Do you remember all of the Let's
Um,
Play stuff at San Diego last year? Like there was a lot of it. They were really doing a
that would
promo
not
push on
surprise
that.
me.
There was that truck that was driving around with just a video screen showing webtoons on it, like just the webtoons website, which was a marketing decision
Hmm.
for
That's where all the
sure.
people are.
That's where the people are.
You
The
gotta
silver
hand
brick
out your
grocery store.
flyers at the grocery store. Um,
So people will read your webcomic.
But yeah, yeah, so it's just interesting to like
The whole
think of all
industry
that
is
stuff. Like,
really weird.
Zach Davison, the guy I introduced you to, who does the monster panel every Emerald City,
Oh
except he
yeah,
didn't do it this year because Emerald City didn't approve it.
yeah.
Um,
I want to do that panel
he
sometime. That'd be fun.
he is currently writing a book, um, that is about how Japan's manga sales were stagnating a little bit in the 90s.
Right, right. I heard
And
about
what
this.
really pushed them forward was
Them romance.
exploding, or just expanding josei, in
Yeah, yeah,
general.
yeah.
Um,
But getting
I've been
that good
listening.
20 to 30 some lady market is real important
Yeah.
in comics. That's a valuable
Um,
readership.
and I've been listening to manga splaining, and I
Oh,
really appreciate that they go over all different types of manga. And there's some that are on there that I haven't heard of,
mm.
and probably wouldn't have been exposed to if it weren't for them. But like, um, one is that I really want to check out is called Even Though We're Adults. Um,
Huh.
and the plot is a married lady hooks up with a lesbian. And it
Oh,
follows both of them after the hookup.
I
And
think
the
you were telling me
lesbian
about
is,
this last time.
yeah, the
Yeah.
lesbian's like, oh, I can't believe I fell for some flighty straight girl who's just using me to be edgy and daring or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whatever. Um, and this keeps happening to me. How like I need to really be better at picking who I have hookups with.
Yeah.
Um, and then the married lady is like, I've never felt this way before. My
Oh my god.
marriage is maybe a lie.
Hashtag the
Um,
feelings.
yeah, and like to make it very clear that it is about her feelings rather than like the guy being a problem, because it would be very easy to have like the guy be a jerk and make it
Mm-hmm.
easy. Yeah, just leave
Mm-hmm.
him, run off with the lesbian. He's very like mild mannered and nice.
Aw, yeah.
So the like he Chris Butcher, while they were reviewing it, compared him to the main character Ted Lasso.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they're like, if there was like an American version of this, Jason Sudeikis playing the husband would be good casting.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
and
Giving soulful eyes at the camera.
yeah, so you feel bad for him, but also like it's not his fault, but it's
No.
also like not hers.
Mm-hmm. It's nobody's fault, but it is complicated.
Um, yeah,
That
and
would make a good comic.
yeah, I want to check it out.
Yeah.
And
The thing
yeah,
is, comics, if you are a marketing person, is for males age 25 to 35. That's the rule.
mhm,
It's always been the rule all along. And you would be an
mhm.
idiot if you tried to sell to anyone else, right? Except wrong. Except you're very wrong, and you just need to look at Japan to find out how wrong. Y'all, look outside your own country for a minute. They got comics to a science. They got comics. The business
Well,
of
they also,
comics.
support the arts more than
They really do,
at least
and it's
America does.
more widely available everywhere.
Yeah.
But we ain't great at supporting the arts in Canada, and we're getting worse at it because we're like, what if we were America too? Let's be the states, but smaller and poorer.
Gross. Gross,
Yeah,
gross,
I hate
gross.
it. I don't like it. Our government workers are going on strike this week because their
Good.
wages have not kept up with inflation.
Writer's strike in Hollywood.
Yeah, I heard. Heard that's coming down the pipes. I support unions, y'all. Strike.
Yeah.
It's the only thing we can do against the crippling corporate dystopia that we live in. Listen to Jorts the cat, y'all.
Yeah.
Jorts knows what's up. I think I need more animal tracks in this panel. Also, these are definitely not to scale. This is the wolf chapter, and next chapter is the caribou chapter, so I get to draw about 50
Good.
million caribou. Let's see if I can make a caribou brush for the like distant herd. But there's one panel where they're all very close, so I have to draw about 30 caribou in one panel. Be good. I will get my hours drawing ungulates in. Thank you. I will definitely need to take breaks for that one. I've been doing 3 pages a week for the past little while, but as soon as I hit that chapter, I'm going to be like, yo, don't expect more than 1 page a week for this chapter, because it's a lot. This is maybe the most drawing intensive drawing intensive chapter out of the whole book. Make the hair much smaller compared to that moose. I like raccoons' weird little hands.
Yeah.
They're great.
I love that video of the raccoon picking up cat food and then running away.
Yes. That's a very good one.
I was trying to explain to Kate how big a raccoon is. And so I sent her that video.
They are either bigger or smaller than you think, depending on how big you think they are.
Yeah.
If you think they are small, they aren't.
Both raccoons and coyotes were bigger than she thought they were.
Yeah.
Because I think she thought coyotes were like foxes.
Oh no, they're much bigger than foxes.
Yeah.
But I can see if you're familiar with foxes from being in the UK, you would let's just assume that they were like, oh yeah, it's just an American
Especially
fox.
since coyotes are in cities.
Yes.
No,
they big.
Yeah.
Some big boys.
I had to explain on the Anime Kids Discord why coyotes live in Central Park, like how they get there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, coyotes learned that highways lead to cities, and
cities have
cities
food.
got food.
Coyotes are very smart.
Yeah.
And very efficient at finding food.
I love there's that video of the coyote in Chicago. It was hot out, so it went into a Quiznos and just like hung out in the drink holder, the drink cabinet.
It's like, y'all have AC, I'm coming inside.
Yeah. Like specifically it sat in the cooler.
Yes. It's like, you got a cold room in there. I want it. Oh yeah, no, 100%. Evie says, people think coyotes are fox-sized and wolves are coyote-sized, and they're very wrong. That's actually part of what this panel is meant to emphasize. I had to do a lot of research because there are pictures of like a full-grown man's hand beside a wolf paw, and it makes them seem smaller than they are. But this girl is about 12, and I was like, okay, how big is a 12-year-old's hand? How big then would be a wolf track be? And I had to like really try and get the size right, and it is. It's about this is an accurate depiction of this relative size of a kid's hand to a wolf paw.
Yeah, that's one of the things is I was talking to Blue at Emerald City about how you tell the difference between a wolf, a coyote, and a dog. Um, and it's wolves have smaller ears
Mm-hmm.
proportionally than coyotes and dogs. Like
They also have
that's
a slightly
usually how
different
you can
track.
tell if it's a wolf dog or an actual wolf,
Mm-hmm.
is the size of the ears.
Yeah.
And then coyotes have narrower faces compared to dogs.
Much. Yes.
So it's a little bit harder to tell a coyote from a dog, I think, especially from a distance.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
would have it. I should emphasize it maybe a little bit more here because there's more of a gap in between a wolf. The sort of like similar to the coyote here. There's a bit of a gap between the paw pad and the front two toes, or the middle two toes.
mhm,
There's like a space. I should
mhm.
emphasize it in this track because there is a very definite. Whereas this looks a little bit more like a dog right now, where the pad and the toes are all pretty close together.
And then so yeah, I also remember I was hanging out with Nina Matsumoto, and
Oh, I like Nina. She's fun.
she has a big coyote tattoo, and
Yes.
I complimented her coyote tattoo, and she's like, a lot of people think it's a wolf. And I was like, I know my
It's
wolves from my coyotes.
of course
Also,
you do. If any two
her
people
handle
know wolves and
also her
coyotes, it is
handle
you
is
two.
Space Coyote, so she's
Yes.
got a canine
Correct.
tattoo.
Correct.
It's gonna be a coyote.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Nina has very strong coyote energy.
um, and also she told me all about how her dog's an asshole.
Good. So that's a little bit more accurate to a wolf.
Um,
They do not
he's a
have the
Shiba.
characteristic bump of the coyote. They just have like a paw pad
Uh,
like a dog, but they got the splayed
Nina
toes.
Nina's dog is a Shiba Inu.
Aw,
And they're
sheeps.
little jerks.
They are.
They're little jerks.
They're like cat dogs.
Yeah.
They have very strong opinions on things. Yeah, that's a little more accurate, I think. I will adjust that in the beadwork too, because it will also make the panel look nicer. Have you been watching Picard?
No. Because I heard it was bad.
Yes. Correct.
And there's only so much time in the day. I'm gonna finish Atlanta before I
Yeah,
move on to Star Treks that people have told me are bad.
Yeah.
Listen, I didn't finish Voyager. Never mind Enterprise. And so people saying Picard is bad has made me be like, I'll just not watch Picard
Yeah,
until
I had
maybe after I've
a
seen
chat with Jam about
Enterprise and
this past weekend, and we were I was like, okay, I did first season of Picard. I was holding off on season two, because I did not want to have my heart broken. But I heard season 2 was actually pretty good, and season 3 was What's the final
Oh,
resolution here? Because Jan's a big Trekkie.
I heard that season 3 was better than 2.
Hmm.
And that 2 was really bad.
Oh, maybe I have it backwards. I know one of the seasons is
Yeah.
solid and quite good, and one of them
Yeah,
is.
I've heard that the newest one is solid-ish.
I heard that it's basically the nostalgia season where it's like the writing is not great, but if you are nostalgic for Trek, it will hit you right in the feels.
That's not me then.
Yeah, it may be me. That was my absolute favorite show growing up, even despite the shitty Space Indians episode that made me super angry. Angry enough that
I
I'm writing a story about it for Indigenerds.
I my first encounter with Star Trek,
Was it your close encounter?
other than well,
Sorry.
my other than random channel surfing and catching like 5 minutes while finding something else, was the Chris Pine movie was the first Star Trek that I watched.
Oh, gotcha.
And then I um
Whereas I'm old
did
school,
watch
I watched
yeah,
way back in the day.
whereas I then it did what it was meant to do. I did go back and watch all the other Star Treks
Yeah.
after. Um but yeah,
I tried to go back and rewatch TNG, which was my series, as an adult, and I was like, oh, this don't hit the same.
so my experience watching OG Trek
Yeah.
was Kirk is a lot less of a womanizer than I expected,
Yeah.
or as pop culture would have me believe.
Yeah.
Um,
He's not
the
a
other
womanizer, but
thing,
less.
he, I feel like he's more of a romantic rather than a womanizer.
Yes. Yeah, actually. That's sort of how they were.
He's
He's the pulp hero who gets the girl.
he he's a man that falls in love easily.
Yes.
And my other reaction to OG Trek was, this is a Futurama episode, and this is a Futurama
Yep.
episode,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
this is a
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Futurama episode. I now have the theory that the reason why Futurama got bad is because they ran out of Star Trek to rip off.
Correct. Yes. And they didn't have enough to stand on their own, so they just stopped being good.
Well, they still had occasional, like, I feel like they had a couple of uh things that they could hold on their own. So, like, it's just the good episodes get further and further apart.
Yeah.
Without some Trek to be filler in between
Mm-hmm.
Fry and Leela's relationship stuff.
There, will they, won't they?
Well, the later seasons, they don't really do the will they, won't they. They do the now they are dating.
Yeah.
But, and so, like, I feel like the good episodes of later Futurama are that. Like there's an episode where time stops and, like, for everyone but them, and they, like, live their whole lives together, and then they have to, like, figure out how to undo time stoppage and
Right.
have to give up, like, the lifetime they spent together. Like, that's very nice. Good, nice emotional feels.
That's a good Star Trek-y sort of episode.
And yeah, so it's kind of like they had some good ideas still left, but, like, you need some goofy filler in between Jurassic Bark and Fry learning about his nephew being named after him.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was my reaction to the OG series. Also, I was also struck by a lot of OG Trek's episodes plots are they go to a planet where supposed gods
Yes.
are aliens.
Yeah. oh no, it's this mythology.
Yeah.
It's very
No,
pulp.
it's we frequently
It's
they
super super
frequently
pulp.
run into ridiculously overpowered entities that have the power of gods,
Yes.
and then they have to deal with it.
This is why when people are always like, "Where the hell did Q come from in Star Trek TNG?" It seems
It's
so out of
that's
place, and
like
you're like,
every other episode of OG Trek.
"Yes,
Like,
they met God about 50 times, so it's just a
yeah.
throwback." And
Anyway,
once they met
so
literal God. We do not speak of
uh
that movie.
then uh and then I watched TNG,
Mm-hmm.
and
That is my
I
jam.
think it was interesting, but is not super for me. Like, here's the thing:
Mm.
is I liked most of it, um, but because everyone was too nice, I would
Mm-hmm.
watch like a couple episodes of TNG and then watch a season of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like,
Just to keep it even, just to even it out.
yeah, just to keep it even.
Good.
Um, Carla Speed McNeil called TNG honor students in space. Um, and I feel like that is true because it's like they're all really good at what they do, but they're also
Yes, and they
like,
respect each other.
and they respect each other, but they're also like reluctant to cause trouble.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm. As the kid who was quiet and a pleasure to have in class, it was very much my jam.
yes. That's the whole
I
cast
also
are
wanted to
kids who are
be a.
quiet and a pleasure to have in class.
Yes, correct.
Um,
They were my people.
uh, and
I would have loved being on the
uh,
Enterprise and not in my classroom where everyone sucked.
and the um DS9 is my jam. Like,
Yeah,
I love
that
it.
that makes a lot of sense. Yes.
I want that twink to kiss that lizard.
And also,
Have you
also,
have you seen Kate Beaton's comics about
yes,
watching DS9?
yes, they
Um,
are very good. Kate is just
um,
amazing at making comics generally, but I especially love those ones.
he's a shapeshifter. He sleeps in a bucket.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I think I knew I was gonna like it when Bashir meets Major Kira for the first
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
And he's like, I'm really excited for the challenge of using your backwater technology, real like frontier medicine of shitty tools, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And she like just takes a deep breath, calls him an asshole, and then leaves.
Yep.
I don't like Dax. I think
Mhm.
she should be a Newt. I don't know if I've told you
I
my Dax
I
should be a Newt
stand
position.
Newt Dax. That's
Yeah,
100%. I
Dax
have
should be a Newt.
maybe
Um,
done some fan art of that Newt
it
Dax because I am into
makes
it.
makes makes the whole show better if she's a
Oh my
Newt.
god, yes. You could even Farscape it and just have Newt Dax as a puppet Newt Dax.
um, cause, cause it
Stan a puppet
Bashir is
queen.
really Bashir hitting on Dax is really annoying.
Yes, and it keeps
But all
happening.
the other ladies that he hits on are aliens.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Bashir
they're weirder looking than her.
has
So she's a
fascinating
Newt, and
tastes.
Bashir still hit on her.
Yes,
Like,
he's a freaky
that
little
says a
man, and we do
lot
love
more
him.
about Bashir than general.
Mm-hmm.
I once described Bashir as Geordi trying to be Riker,
You're not
and
wrong.
because he keeps hitting on ladies and he never gets with any of them.
No.
So, oh, the non-binary planet, was the thing
Mm-hmm.
that made me roll my eyes the hardest because
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, Riker, I don't know what gender is, and I don't know what a penis is,
Oh,
but I
teach
know I
me,
must have your penis. Like,
sexy
it's,
man, teach me.
Yeah. I
That
was just
episode really
like,
felt like it was Star Trek attempting to do a take on Ursula Le Guin's Left Hand of Darkness, Planet of
and the thing is I didn't mind the heavy-handed metaphor because it is Trek. I did see those
yes.
people with their faces painted different colors.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, like, so I didn't mind that. It was just that the fact that it's like, of course she wants to fuck Riker.
Of
Like,
course, no, of course, that's the trope.
that's
Did you see that the Ursula Le Guin estate has gone back and done something Ursula really wanted, which was to change the pronouns in Left Hand of Darkness from he and him to they them.
cool. I didn't know they
Yeah,
did that, but yeah,
I
that's good.
super support that. It was clickbaity. So there was a big thing that was like, the Ursula K. Le Guin estate makes sweeping changes to books, and I was like, what the fucking fuck is this now? And then it was like, yeah, before her death, Ursula was like, hey, here's a bunch of shit that I want changed in my books, okay? Y'all, see to it. And so it was like already in motion before she died. I was like, great,
Yeah.
love it, perfect.
Um, I told you about ancillary justice, right?
No.
It's about a robot or a spaceship AI that's used to having a bunch of bodies.
Oh,
And at the very
yes.
beginning, this spaceship gets blown up. And so the thing is like, um, this spaceship doesn't know how to tell humans apart
Yeah,
and genders everyone with she, her.
right.
Um, I think the reason given for why she, her, like, there's the author reason, which is since we're so used to the default that if that she called everyone he, him, you wouldn't question it.
You would
But if it's
notice
she,
it,
her,
yeah.
that you'd notice it.
It stands
Um,
out.
but the in-world reason I think is because that is what the AI identifies as, and just
Oh,
gives
okay.
everyone the same
Right.
identity as her. And yeah, so it's the AI is on a vengeance kick to revenge their m- multiple body.
Way of
Um,
existing.
yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Um, yeah. So I think like it's interesting because it's like as you're reading it, you eventually figure out who she is misgendering.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because there is a like secondary character that is definitely um
Oops.
a dude, but you don't
Right.
figure that out until like
Because
halfway through the book.
she, her, always.
Yeah.
I don't know. Zeeth Kyra here posts, I read Bashir as autistic, actually. Smart enough to mask really, really well, but different enough that his measures for trust and emotional response aren't attuned to neurotypical human patterns. So he's attracted to people who connect with him emotionally. Which is, that's a cool take.
That is a cool take, but
Um,
also I still want him to I still want Dax to be a Newt at the end of the
yes.
day. Like really
And
this
for
has
him
less
to
to do with
be
Bashir and more I want Dax to be a Newt.
no, I mean
Um
that's the only good one. Like Newt
yeah,
Dax, hell yes.
my problem with Dax is I felt like all the Dax stories were about how Dax used to be cool.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about how Dax used to be cool. Um and
But
then I
then
feel
Dax is
like
not super, you know, great in this incarnation.
Um, yeah, and it's Dax isn't great in this incarnation, and then also,
Okay,
um,
I'm done this page. I
it's
gotta draw some Newt Dax.
yeah, also, Dax is so it's oh, Dax is good at everything, but Dax's experience is never like used in an interesting way, other than
Yeah,
making her good at everything.
it feels like the
Um,
writers really didn't know what to do.
like so, there's a part where um, Miles and Keiko are fighting because that's what they
Yep,
do.
because that's what they do.
Um, but Miles is trying to figure O'Brien's trying to figure out why um Keiko is depressed after losing her teaching job, and he wants to talk to um, Captain Sisko, and Dax says, "Oh, Kira, we should go because I know that look. I've been a husband and given that look, and I've seen that look on my husband before.
And
So
yeah,
so we should go so O'Brien can talk about his family problems." And it's
yes.
like, well, Dax, since you have been both a husband and a wife,
Could you not?
why don't you also offer advice, like
Yeah.
in this situation, like as someone who has been on both sides of the situation,
Yeah, you might be able to,
like,
provide some context to help
and
this struggling
so they never
couple
do anything
and their
like
gender problems.
that. Um, and then, like, if Dax has been alive for all this time, another way they would have done it is they could have done it is maybe have Dax be really interested in new experiences.
Yes. Yeah.
And the other reason I don't like Dax is I hate Dax and Worf's relationship. I
Mm,
Every time their relationship episodes came up, I was like, just break up already, because
yeah.
it's always him slut shaming her
Yep.
and her giving him a hard time because of his cultural traditions and being quote unquote a prude,
Yep.
and like it's like, just break up already. Like, you're
It was this like really half-hearted attempt to try and do a metaphor about interracial marriage, but it or interracial relationships. It didn't.
I thought they were trying to do like opposites attract, like but I it did
Yeah,
just too different in my
It didn't
opinion, and
sell.
it didn't work. Like, I think
I don't actually remember
like,
what Newt Dax looks like, but I'm just going on vibes here.
yeah,
I think I'm
Dax
doing
should be
okay.
Newt.
I think I'm doing pretty good on this. For like, I looked at it months ago and I've been obsessing with
Also,
it since.
also, if Dax is a Newt and Bashir is hitting on Newt Dax, but
Yes.
then Bashir hooks up with Garrick that
Yeah.
says things about Bashir, um,
Mm-hmm.
um, anyway, but yeah, so it's just I
I like
like
her weird little newt
Esri.
feet. They're good.
Um, I liked Esri Dax more than Jadzia Dax.
Yeah.
Because I really liked the, like, Esri couldn't decide what to have for lunch because all her past lives disagreed on like what they would want to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't eat this because so and so is a vegetarian. I can't eat this because so and so, like, blah blah blah. Like,
Did Newt Dax have little axolotl ears?
I don't remember. I know
In
they
my
had
heart
more
she does.
than
In my heart
two
she does.
arms.
Yeah, she's got six arms
Um,
or four arms, and two legs, with cute little newt
yeah.
suckers on them,
Hmm.
and a big ol' axolot smile.
Yeah.
Axolotl is the correct way to pronounce it, and I keep correcting myself on that because I want to pronounce it correctly the indigenous way.
Um, Also, um,
Huh. Look at this little newt dax.
uh,
I love a newt dax. She's gonna be holding a
but
little tiny tricorder.
um, and then as I have told you before, I did not finish Voyager.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think I watched an episode of Enterprise, and did not get into
Yeah,
it.
I didn't make it very far through Enterprise. I just
Um,
kind of lost interest and I started watching other stuff.
um, I love Lower Decks. Lower Decks is great.
I need to watch that.
There's a running gag, that I really appreciate. So you know how in a lot of fictional shows they'll have a conspiracy theorist, and then it turns out that's a joke, and then the conspiracy theorist is right.
Yes.
I am not a fan of that trope because it says
lends
the
credence to
conspiracy
conspiracy
theorist is
theorists.
right at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like, as funny as Roland is, in Steven Universe, the fact that he is correct about
All of the
the
shit from
diamond
space.
theory.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like,
All of that
um,
space shit.
yeah, I was not a fan of that. But um, so Lower Decks has there's a conspiracy theory group that says the Dominion War was a lie, changelings aren't real,
Mm.
this is all a big cover up. They had Cisco secretly murdered. Know the truth. And you and I, who have seen DS9,
Yeah.
know that conspiracy theorist is completely wrong.
Yes.
Like,
Correct.
so they're doing that joke, but making sure that it's you as the audience know that they are full of shit
Yes.
because we
As
saw what
conspiracy
happened.
theorists tend to be. Look at these little spotties on this good Jax. Or Dax. Dax Newt. Jax is a character from the game I'm playing. It was most certainly not a newt. Maybe the least newt-like out of the entire group. Good little newt Dax.
Yeah, Dex should have been a newt.
I
Uh,
was speaking of Star Treks, and then speaking of Farscape. I was
mhm,
watching a really cool Adam Savage tested today, where he was behind the scenes at Jim Henson's workshop, and they were doing
mhm.
the full suits. So you got to see one of the junior Gorgs from Fraggles being operated, and that was fascinating. I'm not worried
Cool.
about it ruining the magic because like I've worked in costumes and mascot costumes, so I'm like I know generally how a Gorg works, but I do want to see the specifics. And man, they're cool while still being like without all the fancy servos and stuff. If you just wanted to make a Gorg that didn't have the fully animatronic face, it's attainable. Like you could make a Gorg. It's a lot of work, but it's no more work than any other mascot costume slash fursuit slash etc.
Yeah.
Very intense cosplay.
Um,
And I love to see how excited he gets about all the servos and bits, because I am excited about those too.
Jesse Gender, the YouTuber, made a 3 hour long video explaining all of Star Trek.
Nice.
Um, just very good.
I don't remember how Newt Dax's neck went, but I do remember that she had like a transparent belly so you could see the symbiote all
The
curled up.
Yeah.
It's very good. It was a great design choice. I am drawing her in uniform, so you won't see it, but it's there in my heart.
Mm-hmm. I also like that artist made the Ferengi like weird little hairless cat people.
I love that.
Um,
Also, I can definitely see a hairless cat like just losing its shit if you scratch its weird little ears.
yeah. And I liked the Bajorans being little mongoosey people to
Yes.
fight the snake people.
Yes. Basically, any Trek race that is more alien looking than
Mm-hmm.
the standard humans in facial appliances. And I understand why they went with that, but also, in my head canon, all of the aliens are much weirder.
Um, 2 Emerald Cities ago, Blue and I were trying to think of what Pokemon team would different Star Trek characters
Oh,
have.
hell, that's fun. Is this the Christmas Emerald City?
Um, no, this was the August one.
Oh yeah, that is 2 Emerald Cities ago now.
So we were talking about so like obviously give Odo like Ditto and
The
any
lava,
other
yeah,
goo
yeah.
Pokemon.
Gudra,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um but then we were trying to think of like what to give like Garrick, which we were thinking mostly like dark Pokemon or poison
Yeah.
Pokemon
Yeah, that makes sense.
because he's a spy.
Yeah.
Um, and but then we were talking about like Gul Dukat,
Yep.
and Blue phrased it as, "What Pokemon do you give a man whose interests are comfort women and fascism?" Um,
Good. Good. That's a great sentence that has been uttered.
I
I don't
think we
know.
gave him all the quote
Jinx?
unquote sexy lady Pokemon. Yeah.
Yeah.
A Jinx, a Gothalita, or whatever
Oh
it's called.
yeah, yeah. Those are so freaky looking. I don't like their weird lips. Any of the Pokemon with lips are deeply upsetting.
Bad.
Just bad vibes. I don't want that looming above me ever.
And then, of course, Blue was trying to think of what to give Wayoon because
Yeah.
that is Blue's boy.
Yup.
I was talking to Blue and we summed up all of Wayoon's interactions with people are like the other person going, "Listen, you don't like me and I don't like you," and Wayoon going, "I like
I
you."
like you? Yes. Good. Perfect. I I am now I'm once again reading the Murderbot books. I'm on book 5. They're all exceptionally good. They're all really fun. I do love Murderbot Snark. And in this book, Rathy, the one character who's been a really background character before, still a fairly background character in this book, but gets some of the best lines. I'm trying to remember the one from last night that was really good. It was something like Murderbot was just having an argument with this AI, who is an asshole, but also her friend, or their friend.
Okay.
And Rathy, after the argument was done, was just like in the next room and was like, "Man, if anyone believes that artificial intelligences don't have emotions, they needed to have been in this very uncomfortable room for the past 10 minutes."
Um, my favorite Asimov story is the robot that understands it can hurt feelings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
There's a little note. One good note. I can't cause a human to come to harm, but I can hurt their feelings.
no, it was like that. They included that and
Yeah, I
can't
can't.
come to harm. Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't hurt their feelings. They're little fifis.
yeah. And
Humans
that
have
just caused more problems.
easily hurt feelings. Yeah, this is not as cute as the original Newt. I love it.
Um, I liked Worf better with Deanna Troy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was a better opposites attract because they respected each other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, weren't constantly at each other's throats.
Yep.
My favorite Star Trek couple is Quark and his Klingon wife.
Yes. There. I will send you this this good Newt. Oops.
And then we should call it.
We should. Because it has been good night.
Yeah. Show me the Newt.
I'm gonna show you the Newt.
Someone I know sells stickers of Quark making that porny anime girl face.
Somebody touches his ears.
just because I think it's called an Iego or something. I don't quite
Ahegao,
know.
and I hate that I know that.
Okay, so it's that face, but it's cork.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that a lot, and I love it.
Send me this newt.
There is a good note. Here you go.
That is a good newt.
I don't know if that's exactly the design that I looked at months ago, but it
They,
still lives
yeah,
in my heart.
they had like a round. They don't have the axolotl things.
Ah, okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, good.
All right. Thanks
Perfect.
everyone
Thanks
for
for joining
stopping
us tonight.
by.
Yeah.
Have a
Have
good
a
one.
good night, y'all.